Namaskar and welcome to Sansad Television. I am Vishal Dahiya and you're watching our show Perspective, where we bring you detailed analysis of all key national and international issues. Today we're going to talk about the issue of legalizing same-sex marriage. Now, the Supreme Court on Friday issued notice to the central government on a plea by two gay couples seeking recognition of same-sex marriage under the Special Marriage Act 1954. The petition drew on earlier landmark rulings, including the one declaring privacy a fundamental right and another that decriminalized gay sex in 2018. In 2021, the central government had opposed same-sex marriage in Delhi High Court during a hearing where it stated that a marriage in India can be recognized only if it is between a biological man and a biological woman capable of producing children. It is in its argument, the central government had then also stated that considerations of societal morality are relevant in considering the validity of a law, and it is for the legislature to enforce such societal morality and public acceptance based upon Indian ethos as well. Now, the centre has to file its response on this issue before the Supreme Court in the next 4 weeks. And today, we'll try and discuss and analyse all aspects of this issue. And for more on this, we're joined by a very distinguished panel of experts. Let me first introduce them to you, beginning with Professor V. Rajyalakshmi, who is joining us here in the studio, a sociologist from the University of Delhi. Welcome, Professor Rajyalakshmi. We're also joined by two more panelists, Ms. Priya Hingorani. She is a senior advocate with the Supreme Court of India. And Ms. Reena Rai is also joining us, a well-known LGBTQ plus activist, founder of Miss Trans Queen India and Deepa Andaneshwar Empowerment Foundation as well. Welcome, both of you ladies also. I'll begin with you, Advocate Hingorani, and let's first start by understanding the case which has brought this again to everybody's attention. What is it that the petitioners are pointing out, the merits there, and what has the Supreme Court said so far, in addition to, of course, issuing notice to the central government to respond in 4 weeks?
Well, the two different petitions which came up before the Supreme Court, one was where a couple has been together for the last 17 years, and they're also bringing up two children. And they said, as far as the relationship with the children are concerned, it is not so far a relationship of a parent or a child. And they wanted that to be legalized, the marriage to be legalized, so they could have that relationship with the two children that they're bringing up, along with the other rights that they would get. And as the other petition, also the couple has been together for some time now, and they want to also legalize it, and they have the consent of the parents or the family supporting them. So ever since this thing has been decriminalized, there has been a surge of cases. So many couples of same-sex are coming forward and stating that they now want to get some acceptance, get their rights legalized, and that is what they'll be pushing for. The Honorable Supreme Court did put in a query the fact that there was a matter pending for the Kerala High Court, and why did they go back to the Kerala High Court? But their plea was that it has been some time now, and there are various issues. It's a wider issue, which now the Supreme Court should consider and look into various other aspects of the Special Marriage Act and see how it can be legalized, and then accordingly amendments in various other aspects of law be brought in. So whether it was relating to adoption or surrogacy or property rights. So there were a lot of other issues which are intertwined with this particular aspect as well.
Okay. And then what does the law of the land, say as of now, Advocate Hingorani, as far as, the issue of marriage is concerned, and this angle of legalizing same-sex marriages? What's the law of the land saying?
See, as far as India is concerned, every religion is governed by their own act. The Hindu Marriage Act is there, the Christian Marriage Act is there, the Parsi Marriage Act is there, Muslim Marriage Act is there. If at all this relationship comes under, it would come under the Special Marriage Act. And that's why under the Special Marriage Act, the amendments need to be brought about to legalize or recognize marriages under the same sex. So it is something which has to, the amendments to the law have to be, the act have to be made, because they obviously cannot come under the Hindu Marriage Act. There are specific provisions under the Hindu Marriage Act. They have to be both Hindus as per Hindu rights and ceremony. Okay. Similarly, So that's why, as far as we are currently placed, there is no law which gives them legitimacy. So those amendments have to be brought.
Okay, okay. And we'll come back to that legal point again back in the show. But let me first bring in Ms. Reena Rai here. Ms. Rai, if you could, make us understand from the point of view of same-sex couples, the rationale behind this demand of, legalizing the same-sex marriage. Why? What's the need?
So, Vishal, I think it's not only about the same sex. I think we all have a choice to be with someone whom we want to be with. So, when we have this right, and it's a democracy, and we always wanted to be with someone whom we like. So, since I'm working with them since 5 years, and when this homosexuality was decriminalized, I think high hopes with the government has raised now, and they really want to legalize this so that nobody can pressure them, or there are a lot of problems arise when you are not supported by the law. When you are supported by the law, then you have something solid to be said. Yes, we can marry our same sex person, because our law also help us in the same. And I think it's been long now. We've been fighting on this, and they should be given right to choose whom they want to marry, whether it's same sex or whatever they want to do. Even if they want to adopt also, because when we talk about motherhood don't have gender. A man can feel the same love for a children when they don't have a wife with who lost their wife, and he gives the mother love to their kids. So why
Okay.
not a man can adopt or a same sex couple can adopt a child and raise them together? I think it's been high time now. We should give their rights. We have holded it back a lot, and now, because we are in democracy, first of all, everyone have a right to have their own privacy. What do they do there in bedroom? It's their choice.
Okay.
We should not think about what they are doing in the bedroom, but yes, if that gives them solidarity, if that gives them a sense of security, I think this law should pass.
Okay, okay, okay. Professor Rajya Lakshmi Nadar, I'd like to bring you in here. Legal points apart. Let's also look at it from, a sociological angle, from the society's angle. And also, this becomes important because, as I was pointing out earlier, the Centre Govt in 2021, in front of the High Court, had, in its response, had talked about societal morality, Indian ethos, and, that should be taken care of. So, in your view, when we are looking at it in a holistic manner, legal point, of course, to be taken care of, but the other aspect also, societal aspect, where do you stand on this?
I'll just first like to draw your attention to the terms which you've been using and the way in which we define these terms.
Okay.
To begin with, marriage. Marriage in India, or anywhere for that matter, is an institution where there are certain rules, regulations, and the definition which says that two people of the opposite sex, where they have the children born, are legitimate, and where the relationship is expected to go beyond the period of gestation and other things. Okay, so it's like that. Now, if you look at the definition, and as Reena ji pointed out, that there is something what happens in the bedroom. Yes, whatever happens in a people's private life is their private life. And marriage is an institution, which is actually to a large extent can be seen as a public affair. Why? Because in India, or for that matter, I would say that globally, it's not a relationship between, or a marriage is not something which is between two individuals, but between two families. That's how one looks at as a student of sociology.
Okay.
Why? Because as students of sociology, we say that every society has got a reality of its own, certain rules and regulations. So looking at that from the point of view of the definition, marriage is between two opposite sex. Why? Because one of the most important resource is the human resource. Only people from the same sex can have, opposite sex can have children. Now when it comes to relationships, that's different. You can have a relationship, that's your private life, your choice. You can, if you want to live with someone, it's entirely your choice. And when I say about the fact that it's an institution, because institutions got certain rules where we go by caste, class, race, all that, which also become very, very important. The identities also become very, very important. Now, as she pointed out, that is, of course, it's a private life, your choice, whom you want to be with. It happens with a lot of married couple also, that, it's again like a divorce. If you don't want to stay together, it's your choice, you can live. But then implication, which again has on the society, on the children. Now, coming back to what you talked about, morality, that's a very relative term, very, very relative term. You can't just say that, this is right or that is wrong. It depends from person to person, from circumstances to the class to which he belongs, and the way in which he or she is able to project the life, identity and relationships.
Okay.
So, morality is something which we cannot really discuss here, because that's a very, very relative term. And as far as the Indian culture goes, or Indian ethos goes, yes, in India, it is a very, very difficult to say that the children have their own choice. Everybody, no child has a choice, because we keep hearing about, honor killings. Even if it's a marriage between two, individuals of two opposite sex, then also we have lots of, restrictions,
In case of intercaste marriages.
taboos. They're all there, intercaste, interclass, or maybe, sometimes families don't get along. So all these things are definitely there. So Indian society is a very, very different society. Yes, we are trying to change, but the acceptance of children born, or rather children from the same sex, I don't know whether we have reached that stage or not.
Okay.
But it is important to respect people's choice, people's idea, or the desire to live together.
Okay.
So living together and marriage, I think, are two entirely different aspects.
Okay, two entirely different aspects from a sociological point of view. Now, taking this back to the legal aspects, and then both these things are pretty well interconnected, as they've always been. Advocate Hingorani, in terms of understanding from both sides, if you look at the petitioner's plea, it draws on two aspects. One is, the right to privacy, as Ms. Rai was also referring to. The other, the next natural progression from their point of view of decriminalization of homosexuality, that is, repealing of Article 377. So on those aspects, legally speaking, how do you see these arguments? How valid and what can be done? Because the issues of adoption and surrogacy in same-sex couples can only be resolved as their argument is, and also legally, I believe, if you correct me if I'm wrong, that can only be resolved if the marriage is legalized. Otherwise, issues like adoption and surrogacy can't be done.
You're absolutely right. See, as far as their arguments are absolutely valid. It's a matter of choice. They have a right to privacy. It's their matter of choice of any two individuals how they want to live their life. Live-in relationships have now been recognized, are legal now, have been legally accepted by the courts, by law. So if live-in relationships have a different connotation. Even as law has said, every lady who is in a live-in relationship and has children in that live-in relationship is entitled to maintenance and their property rights as good as a woman who is married to the person. So now today, live-in relationships are totally accepted and recognized by law. Similarly, I think the issue which is now before the Supreme Court and which has been over the years has been agitated by people from this community are wanting to say that we have one, which is a right of privacy, yes. Two, since you have decriminalized this, so we should be given we should come to the logical conclusion of being able to solemnize our relationships be held valid in law, and the legal consequences to follow, whether it is relation to children, whether it is relation to them falling apart. Even if they are falling apart today, relationships of same-sex marriage, if a woman falls apart from two women fall apart, what is the right? If one woman is working and if the other woman is not working, is she entitled to maintenance? Is she entitled to stay in the same house that they have bought together when they were in a relationship?
Okay.
Would the property be divided into equal parts if they separate? So these are issues which it's a gray area at the moment. There is no law to govern that. Even when there are cases of violence in such relationships, the police is at a loss. They don't know what to do. They do register an FIR with great difficulty if there is violence,
Okay.
but they don't know about it. So there are a lot of issues which are intermingled in this issue, and I think it's time. The law is settled, the law is laid down, so that they also get their legal rights.
But how do you account for this socio-legal aspect, Advocate Hingorani, which Professor Rajya Lakshmi was referring to, which was also pointed out by the central government in its response in Delhi High Court in 2021 about the definition of marriage, which is already also enshrined in the law?
Absolutely, but the thing is, the society has changed. One has to evolve. One has to move on from a point where we were living in joint families, where divorce was unacceptable. Joint family systems are very much. Today, we have moved on to nuclear families. Divorce is no longer taboo. Live-in relationships are accepted. I think we have to evolve and look at, give a wider definition, interpretation to the concept of marriage. Marriage is two people, two individuals coming together and in a relationship, binding a relation, so that if you are accepting surrogacy, if you are today married couples are going in for surrogacy, if you are accepting surrogacy as the child out of surrogacy is a legal child from that in that relationship and giving that child rights, why not a relationship of same-sex people? And if they have adopted a child or had a child through surrogacy, why should the child not get equal rights?
Okay.
I mean, I don't agree with the stand of the government at all.
Okay. But Professor Rajya Lakshmi, evolution, something, again, I'd like to bring you in here, and you were pointing out earlier, the small but pointed question here is, have we evolved? Has our society evolved that much? Because you are earlier pointing out, cases of intercaste marriages or, other marriages which have failed because they were not accepted.
See, it is one thing to say that our society has evolved. Yes, it has evolved economically, but culturally and, culturally or as an institutions, there have not been much changes. Because caste, if you look at the caste still plays a very important role in politics, it plays a very important role in identity, it plays a very important role in social interaction. Another very important thing is that when we talk about change, it has to be more than average people accepting that, which means that suppose if there are 100 people, then it should be more than 50 who are ready to accept that. But in India, I don't think that is there. India is very, very diverse in terms of rural and urban divide. And when you look at that, maybe in urban areas, there are changes. Now, she was pointing out about the joint family, nuclear family, though this is not directly related to this. Again, we are coming back to the joint families, maybe for a different reason, because of the economic reasons. But, as institutions, they have evolved, but not been replaced.
Okay.
They have not brought about, or rather, we don't see such drastic changes in the institutions. So, marriage as an institution still is a very, very important institution. And I would again say the same thing. Relationships and marriage are two different things. Personal choices and social choices, or for the society, again are very different.
Okay.
So, morally, ethically, culturally, socially, all these things are different and cannot be clubbed together.
Okay. Ms. Rai, that issue there, that the issue of choice is different when it comes to relationship, and then that is pretty much been provided by the law. The Supreme Court has also accepted that when it decriminalized 377. But when it comes to the institution of marriage, as Professor Rajya Lakshmi was pointing out, there are other aspects involved as well. It's just not limited to law.
I would like to say, first of all, I am totally agree to ma'am Hingorani ma'am that when this law will be passed, there are a lot of issues which are faced by the same-sex marriages. What do you think? These same-sex marriages are not happening? They are happening. But then what happens, a woman who get so much of support from the government when she want to take divorce, or when somebody want to leave her, she have all power to go to the court and tell them they can't do this to this woman.
Okay.
But when you are in a same-sex marriage, or you think if they're living together, they're going through a lot of problems, like they marry and then they leave, and the other person don't even have any choice to live in depression, and they can't go to law and ask them for the कि उनको मतलब वहां से
redressal mechanism, you're saying.
So I believe this definition of marriage, when it was written, I think it's long time back. Now we are in 2022. It should change for a good now, and everyone should have a choice of selecting a person whom they want to marry. And when ma'am is saying it's an institution which go by some rules and go by some social pressures, so we want that same rules and social pressures in the same-sex marriages, so that nobody can abuse the other partner when they are into a relationship.
Okay. Advocate Hingorani, two things here. One, of course, as Ms. Rai is pointing out, taking care of the grievance redressal mechanism, help at hand, being, and those are the arguments from the petitioner's side, from the community as well. But when we look at a larger scale, and when we're looking outwards as well, in terms of other societies, other countries, other nations as well, where do we stand? Because there are various, examples wherein some countries have taken that step, legalized same-sex marriages, but there are others who have not done so.
I think that's a matter of choice. It depends on the government of the day, what they feel they want to do. But it's, as far as individuals are concerned, it's entirely their matter of choice. If it is not legalized in their country, they are, of course, fighting for it to be legalized. But at the same time, they are in a relationship, whether it is behind closed doors, or not in public eye, or not asking for any kind of rights.
Okay.
But in countries where it has been accepted, I mean, you can see the law is really enforceable and supporting, and the laws have come around to legalize this.
Okay. We'll have to bring this to an end, Ms. Rai. We're running short of time, but yes, all of you have put your point across. Ultimately, it is for the government and the institutions like Supreme Court to come to a conclusion. Thank you so much, Ms. Reena Rai, Ms. Priya Hingorani, and Professor Rajya Lakshmi as well for sharing your views and insight, as our experts were pointing out various aspects of the issue of legalizing same-sex marriages. Of course, it's not just the legal aspect. There is a social aspect as well. And it indeed is a complex but very important issue for the society at large, for the country, and legal points. We will keep a close watch on all the developments on this case and various other issues also, and keep on bringing you detailed information and analysis. Till then, keep watching Sansad Television. Thank you.